Hey guys, what's growing? It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm, and today is garlic harvest day. So I planted these garlic cloves on the 15th of October in 2022. So they've been in here in the ground. Today is July 3rd for a very long time. So I'm super excited. I've been waiting for just the right time, and we've reached it. So how do you know when your garlic is ready to harvest? Well, you want the bottom 2 to 3 leaves to start to be turning brown. And I dug up one to check that it was good, and it is. Look at the nice size on that garlic clove. So I'm gonna dig up this whole bed, and the bed will be used, not today, because I'm not sure what I'm gonna put in it yet, but we'll flip it and put some other stuff in it. It's not gonna sit empty. But it is time to harvest. So I'm gonna grab my garden fork, and I'm gonna slowly, gently pry up these garlic cloves. I'm not even really going to worry about separating them into varieties, even though I have the variety stake here. I mean, we'll see. But it's not like I'm doing taste tests. I just grow garlic because I love it, and we use it in everything. However, the soft neck varieties, I have 2 soft neck varieties and 2 hard neck varieties. Now the hard necks, like this one, they're called hard necks because the neck is hard. These don't store as long. So these are the ones we'll eat first. The soft neck varieties have soft necks. You can braid these, and they actually store longer. So I probably will separate them in terms of hard and soft neck so that I can braid the soft necks when they're ready. But first, we're gonna dig them all up, and then we're gonna have to cure them for about 10 to 14 days, and then they'll be ready to start using. Now I can use this one today as just fresh garlic, that's fine. But for storage purposes, you want them to cure. So let's get started digging. This year is a definite garlic success. I've never had such big cloves. I'm so excited about this. So this one is a soft neck Enchelium red. I mean, look at the size of these. They're huge. There's a couple small ones in here, but they just look great. Now these are a little bit smaller. This is silver white soft neck. I probably could have left them a little bit longer, but 2 of the bottom leaves are brown. So anyway, those are pretty good size. There's a couple real small ones in here that I'll probably just use fresh, but they look great. And then over here we have Music, which is funny. These, it went in the ground as an individual clove, and Music, it's a lot of them fused together. I had more than a few that were like double. Anyway, these are looking good too. Not as big as the Enchelium red. And then this one, the Georgian Fire. Look at that size clove. Oh, I'm so excited. Now, foolishly, I forgot to turn off the irrigation, so you'll see everything's real muddy. So these definitely have to sit out and dry for a while. So I need to go set up a drying station. Okay, this is our side porch, and this is where the garlic is going to spend its time drying, and it's going to take a while because, like I said, the soil was wet, and so it's going to take a while for these guys to dry. However, we have very low humidity right now. It's about 26% humidity, and the days are warm, so that will help quite a bit. So here we have the Georgian Fire hardneck variety, and as you can see, there's some really good sized cloves in here. I'm super stoked. This is the Music hardneck. We have a couple of large ones, but for the most part, these guys are like, I don't know, medium. And actually, since I did decide to keep them separate, I would love to do a taste test on these. I think we'll do a taste test fresh garlic and then a taste test roasted garlic, and see how that goes. These are the soft neck varieties on this table. This is the silver white soft neck. So again, some decent sized cloves in here, and then some smaller ones like this guy here. And then finally, the Enchelium red. These, this one's huge, but these guys look so great, and it smells so good over here right now. So it's hot and all that, but I think I'm also going to go on and dig up the potatoes because the plants are looking really horrible. And when we dug up one the other day, what was that, last week, there were enough decent sized new potatoes on there. So I think I'm going to dig up that bed as well. And then I need to make some plans on what's going to go in there, because what I've got in the greenhouse right now is all for the farm. It's flowers, and I'd like to grow food in those beds. So I might use those beds for peppers. I've got peppers growing in other places, but not that many, and they're not doing that well because it's been cold. So now that we finally have some heat, I might just buy some store-bought peppers, because if I start them from seed now, it's just going to be too late. They take a long time to set fruit and to mature for harvest. So all right, let's go dig up those potatoes. Okay, not the best potato harvest, but not the worst. I mean, I got potatoes. This is more than, one dinner. However, we're going to be having some folks over tomorrow for barbecue, so I might just chop them all up and roast them. They're all new potatoes. Some of them were pretty good size, but I even dug up the little ones because those you could just toss on a pan. So waste not, want not. I'm sure that I missed a few in this bed. But what I have discovered, so I think I would have had a much better harvest if a couple of things had happened. One, I planted them way too close together, and I knew that when I did it, but I was being greedy. Two, we had the extended kind of cold period, and we also had so much rain. I mean, so there was a lot of like almost thick clay at the bottom of this bed. Now clay is our natural subsoil here, but these are raised beds. They're about 9 inches high, and they are filled to the top with compost and other amendments, straw, etc. But I think there's some compaction going on in here just from like all that water sitting for so many months. So before I plant anything else, I am going to give this bed, I'm not going to bring the broad fork home because that's too much effort, but I'll just use this garden fork, and I'm going to just loosen up all the soil even more. And same thing with the garlic bed. And that way, whatever I put in next will have a little bit more fluffy substrate. Now, next year for potatoes, I think I'm gonna actually use one of the rows in the row crop area because I won't have to put flowers there. Like I did this past year. And I will put potatoes in there and see, because you know, potatoes need loose, fluffy soil in order to really grow good tubers. The same thing with sweet potatoes. So the sweet potatoes I have growing out there now for the fall, that'll be a good trial to see how good that soil is for growing tubers. So, yeah, so that's the takeaways. I mean, I'm happy with that, but with a bed this size, 4x4 by 8 inches deep, I should have had more potatoes. But again, I planted them too close. And the plants never got lush and beautiful. So this bed is just a big jumble of stuff. It was an onion bed. I've harvested most of the onions. However, you can see there are still some. There are a couple tomatoes in here. There's some peppers in here. There's climbing beans and bush beans. There's just a whole bunch of stuff in here. This potato, this is what they should have looked like, you know, during the season. It's even going to flower. Now, I didn't plant this potato here this year. These are left over from last year. So I'm gonna let that go all the way till the plant starts to die back, and I'll dig it up and see what we've got in there. Now, this bed is not as deep as the other raised beds because we had to build into the side of a hill here. So the front part of this bed is shallower than the back part, but I'm curious to see what comes out of there potato-wise, since that was like a volunteer from last year. Now, with these two beds, I think what I'm going to do, first of all, I put the irrigation back because the last thing I want to happen is for the soil to get super dried out and hydrophobic. So I want to keep irrigating it. And this week, I just don't know what I'm going to do yet, but this week I'm going to put things in here. So maybe one bed for peppers, and then maybe lettuces and arugulas and things, but I have some varieties that are slow to bolt in heat, and that's what I really need to do here. I can also cover them with some row cover, shade cloth, to keep them cooler and slow down the bolting process, but I think that's what we're gonna do. So I think I'm done in the heat today. It's not nearly as hot today. I mean, maybe it's 86. It's actually quite nice outside, but I've been out in the sun for a couple of hours, and it's the heat of the day. So I'm gonna go in and get some work done inside, and then this afternoon I need to come out and build bouquets for the CSA tomorrow. But let me just show you what I harvested today. There's a lot of stuff, but it's a very big mix of things. Okay, so status is really coming into its own right now. So any status that I don't use fresh, I dry because it's an amazing dried flower. So here's another bucket here, and you can see over here I've got some bunches hanging dried. Up in these boxes up here is all dried flowers, and a lot of that is status. Okay, so we also have a big bucket of feverfew, some of these awesome star flowers, Sweet Annie as a greenery, and then look at all those straw flower. So pretty. I love, you hear that? I love that papery sound. Yeah, so these also make an amazing dried flower. They look exactly the same when they dry. They keep their color and everything, as long as you keep them out of direct sunlight. This is another variety of feverfew. I think that's Vegmo Yellow. And then I have a couple of Crocosmia. This is Crocosmia Lucifer. Super cool. And of course we have sunflowers, some more of the starflower. And then up here we have lilies. We have the orange tiger lily. This is going to be interesting to put in a bouquet though, a market bouquet, because look at these crazy stems. So yes, they're super long, but the way the flowers go, they open first on the bottom and then you've got all this up top. So it's going to be kind of weird. These bouquets are going to be a little strange, different than usual, but I think people will enjoy them. These are scentless lilies. So for people who can't stand that scent, like me, they don't have any. This is peppermint for foliage. We've got some really pretty Ami Magus. We've got some lovely yarrow, chocolate lace flower, and Orlea. And then This is Helichrysum for greenery. All right, y'all, that's gonna do it for me today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Let me know if you have harvested or are about to harvest garlic and or potatoes. I would love to hear about your stories. I would say my garlic was a definite success this year. Potatoes, not really a fail, but I wouldn't call it a success. I mean, some grew, but I was hoping for a much bigger harvest. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out with me today. Hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.